Well, hi everybody. So today I'll be having a look at Got Friends' Double Ender, which is a thoroughly fun little bush plane to go fly around. Got a fair amount of customization and everything like that in it, so we're going to go have a look at some of those things, get it started, go fly it around, and then do a short review on it here at the end. That'll pretty much be it for today. So we'll go ahead and get started here just in the interest of time, so this doesn't take too long. Alrighty, well here we are on the Double Ender. Definitely has superior visibility, but we'll take a quick spin around the cockpit here. As far as model and texture quality go, everything came out really nice in this one. The welds look nice, the rivets look nice, all those kinds of things. Now you may get some color variations depending upon which livery you have selected for this thing, so some of the paneling and the framing and things like that are going to change a little bit depending upon the livery. But either way, it's a very nice looking cockpit for what there is in here. And we're going to go ahead and run through the features real quick. Alrighty, well we'll start out here with kind of customizing this display. We can go ahead and press on the screen button here and it'll kind of customize the right side for us a little bit. But we're going to move on here to the configuration page. All this does, or at least simply put, is it's going to allow you to change the units of measurement for any of the readouts in the main display. Move over here to aircraft configuration, kind of visual customization for the plane, some things like that. So we have the belly pod, the rear seat, top display. Now you will have to have the third-party add-on for this to work, otherwise it's just going to be the default Asobo one. Move down here to realism. Now the Double Ender does come with a engine damage sort of general wear and tear system to it, so if you don't want to deal with this, you can just go ahead and disable it. You won't have to deal with it. Tie downs, pitot cover, and the camping site. You probably saw the camping site at the beginning of the video. We'll go ahead and deploy that. Now if you have deployed it and for whatever reason it's not showing up, there could be two reasons for that. One is that you have the passenger seat enabled, or you don't have any weight here in the main cargo section. So you will need to add something in here for it to show up. Go ahead and move on to aircraft dirt. This is pretty self-explanatory. It's just going to, put some more layers of dirt and things like that on the outside of the aircraft as you fly it around, things like that. So go over that a little bit more here later, but for right now, that's pretty much what it is. It has some presets, and you can always turn it off if you don't want to deal with it. Prop spinners, registration decal, pilot visibility, vibration effects, and visual effects. I'm not really going to go through any of those. For the most part, they're kind of self-explanatory, so we'll go ahead and move on to the next page, which is V-speeds. I'm not going to go through those either. We're going to come over here to the engine, or the damage page. This is where you're going to repair anything that's broken. As you can see right now, the alternator up here is at 25%, the engine's at 5%, so we're going to need to fix those. So we'll come to here to the page selection. We'll just highlight one of those, and we'll click on it. Once it's highlighted, it'll go ahead and repair it. Now the engine will have to be off to fix any of these things. There's a slight exception to that. We're going to go through that next. So if we come over here to wear and tear aging override, this is kind of going to be where you can set up, let's say you want to have a failure or something like that to happen with the plane while you're flying it around. This is where you're going to set that up. Now anything around about 30% or below is going to increase the probability of something going wrong. But for the most part, this is kind of how you do that. Now this is also allows you to kind of repair things when you're in the air. So if something for whatever reason has failed, we can come in here and select it and just adjust the percentage back up to 100%. It should fix it. We'll go ahead and hit the home button, bring us back here to the main display. We're going to press Control 9 real quick and come back here to the cargo area. As we can see, we've stowed the camping site, so it's all been put back here in the cargo area. Now again, this is a little bit customizable, so we'll come back up to the weight menu. Depending upon the amount of weight that you have in here, we'll change what's in the back. So we can put it up here to 170. That is pretty much everything that it will display back here. Again, if we lower it back down, it's going to change whatever we've done here, and so on and so forth until we go all the way down to 0. Now as far as this box back here, this is going to be rear cargo. So we can go ahead and we can remove this and put like 10 pounds in it. It's going to start to remove things from the box. So if we put it down to 0, it removes the box completely. And that's pretty much all we're going to go over here. Again, there's a pretty good level of customization and things like that on this plane, so do mess around with it. There's some neat click points on some things in the camping site, all of that. But I'm not really going to go over those. So we're going to go ahead and get this thing started, go take it off. Alrighty, well we're going to go ahead and start out here by flipping the battery on. Now I'm not going to do this in any particular order, so we're just going to go ahead and press Control 8 and bring us up here into the breaker panel. Go ahead and turn the avionics on. We'll turn the magnetos on for the front and rear engines. Come back down over here to the left side of the cockpit. Go ahead and turn the fuel selectors on. Doesn't matter which one, might as well turn on both. Well, up here we'll flip the alternators on. We'll go ahead and flip the fuel pumps on. Now it's not necessary to have the fuel pumps on, but I'm going to do it anyway. Come up here to the starter. Just go ahead and click on that. Start up the front engine. Click on the rear engine. Go ahead and start up the rear engine. I'll press Control 5. We'll come up here. We have some headphones we can put on. Just going to make everything a little bit quieter. And then we'll come over here, close the door, and it's going to make things even quieter. As far as starting the thing up, getting it ready, we're pretty much good to go. So we're just going to head out to the grass here and go take this thing off. Alrighty, well, we're going to go ahead and take this thing off. Now, I put about 2,200 pounds of weight on this thing. Fully loaded, its max takeoff weight is about 2,500. Either way, it's still going to get off the ground real easily. So I'll go ahead and put the flaps down to the second notch here. Go ahead and throttle up. Just going to lift the tail wheel off the ground. According to that, somewhere around about 17 knots. Should be able to get off the ground pretty easily, about 35. And we're up in the air. Now, as far as how this thing flies, it is a very nice plane to fly. It flies really well at slow speed. The flight characteristics are pretty good. A couple other things like that. It's a very nimble one. Again, it does fly very nicely at slow speeds. Either way, as far as the stall characteristic, let's say, goes, the stall characteristic is pretty good. It's got about with the flaps down, about 31 knots is going to be what you're looking at for stall speed. Overall, in terms of speed in general, probably get the thing up to about 100, I don't know, maybe 115 knots, something like that. I tend to sit somewhere about 105, maybe 100 knots or so. But either way, it's not the fastest thing on the planet or anything like that. But it's definitely not bad. It certainly is pretty fun to fly. Now we're going to do something here that did not work out so well last time. But we're going to try it again. And that is to clean the tires off here. Now this only works if you're in the dynamic setting for aircraft dirt. The presets will not let you do this. But either way, we're going to come down here and we're just going to let the tires skim across the water a little bit. It's going to clean it off just a little bit. We'll let it sit there for a second. And it's going to go ahead and clean it again. And now they're nice and clean. Again, that only happens in dynamic. Alright, well, I really don't have that much else to say about this thing, so we're going to go ahead and bring it back around to the grass for a landing and all that. It's a very fun little bush plane. I like it. It's quickly becoming my favorite in the game so far. I really like its flight characteristics and all the rest of that stuff. So the engine damage was also kind of a nice touch as well. I thought that was a neat thing to add in here. It seems to work pretty well as far as wear and tear and all the rest of that stuff goes. It doesn't build up very quickly or anything like that, assuming that you're not really abusing the plane or anything. So it's either way, it's a real fun one. There may be random failures. I'm not 100% sure about that. I have had a couple of circuit breakers pop out while flying it around for no discernible reason that I could tell. Go ahead and put the flaps all the way down here. And the flaps are down all the way. They are a little bit more like speed brakes. They still function they still function fine. It's just that they're like 90. It's like 90 degrees or something like that. It's really steep angle. So we're going to go ahead and want to set down here around about 35 knots. Now, if you don't get the tail wheel grounded, it can get a little wily on you. But other than that, it's a very well-behaved plane to take off and land. Also turns around real nice. Just going to turn it around here real quick and take off again. I don't know if we're going to win any competitions with that one, but it stops pretty quickly and all the rest of that stuff. Either way, it's a real nice little bush plane. So we're going to go ahead and go into the review here, and I'm going to nose plant it. Oh, I'm going to flip it over. All right, so we're going to go ahead and go into the review here because obviously I'm not going to be going anywhere anytime soon. So I'll see you all back here in a second. Alrighty, well, if you want to pick up the double ender, you can get it from gotfriends.com for about $20. At least in my opinion, it's fairly priced. The engine damage and wear and tear system is not something I necessarily expect to see on planes around $20. Then factor in the level of customization. Again, I think it's fairly priced. As far as the double ender itself goes, I think they did a really nice job on this one. Now, the double ender is not going to, well, it's not going to win any beauty contest. But in terms of Got Friends' rendition of it in the game, it looks great. Modeling and texture quality are nice, both in the interior and the exterior. One of the things I did want to discuss here was the dynamic dirt system. I thought that was a great addition to the plane. As far as how it works, well, I'm not really sure how it works. But my conceptualization of it is this. The more you drive it around on the ground, the dirtier it gets, which is fantastic. So overall, in terms of modeling and texture quality and all the rest of that stuff, this thing looks great. The sound set is good. As far as the quality, the sounds are crisp and clear. Everything comes through real nicely. One sound that I wasn't expecting was hiding or showing the stick makes some noise. The engine sounds are good. It gets muffled when you close the cockpit up and muffled even more when you equip the headphones. Either way, nice attention to detail for the sounds in general. The flight model is definitely fun to fly around. It's got a real high fun factor to it. The visibility from the cockpit makes flying low rather enjoyable. It handles slow speeds with ease. It does a good stall turn. It stalls in general real nicely. Now, it's not a rocket ship. It's not overpowered or anything like that, but neither is it underpowered. As far as aerobatics go, it handles loops and the basic things pretty well. It's a nimble, stable, well-behaved plane. That's not to say that it can't get a little squirrely on you. Do keep the tail wheel grounded. But overall, it's a great plane. You can pretty much land this thing anywhere. One thing that I did want to touch on was their custom water skimming simulation. It's the best one in the game, at least as far as what I've flown in the game. It is just so much fun. And that's pretty much all I'm going to say about the flight characteristics. Just overall, it's an absolutely fun plane to go fly. As far as the features go, there are a good number of them. Anything that I covered in the features section, I'm not going to discuss it here, aside from how fantastic I think the dynamic dirt system is. It did legitimately surprise me when I realized I could clean tires off in the water. The ability to simulate engine failures and whatnot was a nice touch. Really liked being able to set the failures up inside the plane while flying it. The engine wear and tear saves its state between flights as well as the fuel levels. The circuit breakers work, and there is third-party nav compatibility as well. Aside from the systems and whatnot, there are a few, well, there's one. Things I wanted to mention: you can refill the fuel tanks by clicking on the jerry cans when they're outside the plane. The visual effects came out real nice, like spray effects, dust, things like that. There are more things. I'm not going to cover everything, though. The only complaint that I have here is that there just isn't enough beer in the back of the plane. And that's really all I'm going to say about that. But either way, there are some really nice features and customizations in this one. Yeah, that's pretty much all I've got for today, guys. So definitely go check it out. It's a very fun one. Double Ender has become my kind of go-to backcountry flyer. So thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll see y'all next time.